Hey guys, welcome to Sketch a Day. I'm Spencer. If this is your first time, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on alerts, and definitely come say hi on Instagram. That's where I hang out and I post other drawings and go live from time to time, so you'll want to check that out. Also, be sure to hit up my newsletter at sketchaday.com/newsletter. I'll just say some goodies are coming out soon, so you'll want to be a part of that before I send out that email. Well, today I'm going to be sketching some pliers, and those can be particularly tricky because they're a bit longer than they are wide or tall. So it's really hard to do those things. This might be a bit similar to the video I did on how to draw scissors, but I'm going to take you through my process in understanding the product and how I would approach drawing it. So with that, let's get started. So I have this pair of pliers as a reference, and these are just lineman's pliers an electrician would use. So like I mentioned, they're a bit longer than they are wide, proportionally speaking, and from the other dimension as well, looking straight down from the top. So in approaching how to sketch these, my first thing I like to do is kind of understand the overall form. So looking at these pliers, I have this large, almost circular element in the middle. The front appears to be somewhat triangular. And as far as the handles go, I have this kind of curved appearance. Now I'm going to simplify my design by not introducing the return here on the end, but that's something we could do. And so to do this, I just need to sketch a bounding box, and I'll start with a plane that's going to define the overall volume for my pliers. So something like that, okay? Fairly narrow, fairly long, and proportionally speaking, you know, we can throw some lines down, maybe even block in this box here for where our hinge element would be. But just by drawing through, I now have a point that I can use to reference my design. I'm also going to divide this main bounding box in half, okay? And this way I'm able to kind of sketch in where I think the head of my pliers would be. So just like that, connecting this box that I sketched in on the front to my larger hinge section here, we can return down a little bit, and I'm just going to project over, down, over like so, and really just block in some elements for this sketch or design. Now, like I mentioned, I have this curve in my handle, so just sketching two curved lines here that are going to be representative, okay, of just that curved surface. And if I project down like so, let's leave a little gap here and then continue my curves like so. I now have the workings of my handle, okay? So just like that. I'm going to go a little bit slower here so I don't get tripped up. But there we go. We now have the shape of the handle in addition to some fixed points on our pliers. Now I'm just going to divide here and apply a little extra line weight where I need to, as well as some details on the nose of the pliers. Okay, they're actually slightly angled. I can sketch in the teeth for my pliers, as well as there is this little section on my pliers that you can use for cutting or trimming wire if you need to. So I wanted to be able to capture that, okay, as well as indicate that these two things might be moving past each other. Now, when I'm sketching something technical like this, a lot of times I actually like to use an underlay or reference. That's why I'm referring to the actual thing, because I don't design pliers day in, day out. So I kind of need to reference, but this is how I think about the form itself. Now, working backwards a little bit, really what I've done here in this sketch is figured out from an orthographic point of view, meaning dead on from the side, what the basic building blocks of this product might be. And so just with a few lines, we can quickly encapsulate and represent this design in an orthographic or side view And this almost functions as a supporting sketch for our main sketch. And again, just using that bounding box, we're able to quickly represent this object. So I'm going to connect these two sketches actually with just a simple box here, and we'll actually leverage the bottom side of the bounding box we created to use as a shadow. Now, even if this is a simple sketch, I do like to add a little bit of color, but in this instance what I'm going to do is actually, since I'm not using multiple markers, just focus on leaving the upper areas a bit lighter and unfilled in, and focus on shading in the sides. And the reason for that is I want to show form without getting too hung up on variations in tone and texture and all that stuff that tends to happen when I'm doing a more full drawing or rendering. Now for the rest of this, I'm going to just use some gray marker here just to quickly outline this section. And this works really well, particularly as some of the color bleeds. We get a little bit of almost reflection type stuff happening through there. But it works well because it is metal and this is gray. So not only are we adding some shade or tone to this, but also we can communicate to some extent that this is a different material. Just adding a little bit of shadow here, breaking my own rule, but a little bit of shadow just to help with how things read. And we'll bolster this with some line weight as well. I forgot to split this, so I'm just going to split that here just like so. And now to kind of help this pop even more, let's go ahead and just shade in the bottom side of this plane. So like I said, it's a quick and easy way to cheat a little bit. Here where I have the hinge, I may just jog on the shadow just a little bit. Same with the handles, like so, and even round out that plane. So I've essentially leveraged the work I did previously for the plane and use that as a shadow in the sketch. So pretty handy little trick you can use as you're going. Now I do like to add stippling to my textures if I can. In other words, this is a different material, and so the stippling allows me to communicate that there's some difference between this section and the section toward the back. Now at this point, what I'm going to do is just lightly map out the background here with some gray, like so, just a little gray line to finish that out, and then I can add some shadow, okay, on the background itself, almost as if it's a plane behind my main pliers sketch here. And toward the bottom of the pliers, just taking this Copic black marker, anything that's facing away from my proposed light source here, just making that line weight a little bit lighter, okay, as we go, just like that. All right, so that's how I take something that is fairly thin, throw it in perspective and sketch. And really, you can use this method for pretty much any point of view. So if I wanted to have a sketch of pliers that was more in this orientation, I could also kind of map out a square, circle, get the front of the pliers in. Again, just basic forms here. Get this other square in and my curves, like so. And because of foreshortening, this is going to look a little bit weird as it's an exaggerated perspective. But my point is, it's really easy to take this methodological approach. That's a hard word. Take this approach to creating your sketch in a different point of view. Okay, so there's my quick sketch in a different point of view. If you want to add to this, if it were a presentation, text always goes a long way in terms of identifying materials or key areas of interest. Okay, so it's definitely something you can do. And if you have a supporting sketch, just a little gray marker never hurts to help give the sketch at least some presence on your page. Okay, so once again, that's how I take something like this that is fairly narrow in certain dimensions but very long and sketch that in perspective. It's all about thinking within the box, so to speak. We're back in the box. Well, thanks for watching, and hopefully you're able to get something good out of that. If you did, be sure to share this video. Much appreciated. You even watching this is amazing. I also go live Fridays, 9 a.m. Pacific, that's California time, or 5 p.m. UTC, where we have a sketch, chat, and talk live. You guys can ask me questions, I'll take suggestions, all that good stuff, and we usually have a great time. In fact, I also upload the high-resolution sketches of that session to my Google Drive, and you guys can download those and look at them if you want. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time right here on Sketch-A-Day.